What's going on, guys? I'm back with a new video, and today we got some educational content. And as you can tell from the title, I coach 200 Rocket League players, and I'm about to describe what I see most of them doing wrong. So currently I'm a Rocket League coach through Gamers Ready, and if you're interested in purchasing my coaching, it'll be linked in the description. There's a good chance when you go on the website though, I'll be out of stock, and that's because I'm trying to focus on YouTube a lot more. It's really hard to do full-time coaching and full-time YouTube. I wish I could do both, but there's simply not enough time in the day, but I'll still be doing some coaching. So what I started doing is I'm going to put 4 sessions in stock near the beginning of the month, and once those 4 sell out, I won't be back until the next month. So the last time I did that, which was May 5th, I sold out all 4 sessions in 3 minutes, so you gotta be pretty speedy, but make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram where I'll be announcing the exact time and day I'll be putting some new sessions in stock, so I'll give all you guys an equal chance. Alright, so I coach 200 Rocket League players, and obviously everyone's gonna have their own unique things that they do wrong, but I have 7 points written down here that the majority of my students could work on. Alright, so I'm gonna summarize each point, tell you guys what's up, and I'll also have an example from one of my students replaced to help you guys further understand the problem. Alright, so number 7 is doing forward-backward motions with your car. That's something you want to be avoiding as much as possible because it loses you so much momentum. This can happen on both defense and offense while you're trying to reposition. And I totally understand, you know, in a game like Rocket League, you have to be repositioning your car constantly. But you want to be doing that with as much momentum as possible. Pro players like Squishy and Justin are considered some of the fastest players in the world, but it's not that their car is any faster than the opponent's car. Most of it is that they keep so much momentum on the ground while they're repositioning that they can simply get to the ball faster than the opponent because they have more speed developed beforehand. Alright, so here's an example from one of my students, and notice how right here he does a forward-backward motion, and that causes him to lose a lot of momentum, which causes us to get scored on. I did give it away quite easily, and he did have a low boost, but still, this is 100% savable if he replaces forward-backward motion with a turn. So here's the turn he does. Right there, he just lost 100% of his momentum. All he has to do is replace this motion with some sort of turn that he was already doing to keep his momentum up, keep his car driving forward, and he could have probably saved it here on the wall. The key to trying to keep your momentum as effectively as possible in a game is replacing as many forward-backward motions as you can with turns. I could have chosen to do a forward-backward motion, and that would have caused me to lose all my momentum, and I would not have been ready for that play. And what I did decide to do here is to replace that forward-backward motion with a turn, which allows me to keep moving forward, which does allow me to eventually get ready to save this ball. Number 6 is overcommits on offense. I'm talking about a pretty specific situation that happens quite often in 2v2 and 3v3, and it's where your teammate has possession of the ball, and you guys are on the counterattack, and you're that second man in rotation getting ready for the pass out from your teammate. This may sound kind of weird, but I'll explain it in a second. Let's say your teammate flips into it, he passes it out. Your first thought should be not to go for the ball. This is especially true in 2v2, and here's why. If your teammate was on the wall and he flipped the ball out to pass it to you, he's gonna have a really long recovery. So your first thought should be, how can I buy my teammate time to recover back? A lot of the time, you're going to be in an average position, your teammate's going to have an average pass, and there is going to be one, if not both of the defenders ready for that ball. So you going for that ball when your teammate already committed for the pass can be really risky, because if you miss or you get beat to the ball by the defender, there's an open net behind you. So here's all you have to do. Just position for the pass, and if it's not a perfect pass and you see the defenders are really ready for it, all you have to do is stay composed, don't jump for it, and start your recovery right there. You'll be surprised the amount of times you not going for a risky ball will just cause the opponents to pass the ball right to you. Once you let the opponents get that pass to you, you can easily maintain offensive pressure without the risk of going for that initial hit while your teammate was still up. The only time when you want to actually go up for that ball when your teammate committed for it is when you know for a fact you're going to beat the opponent to it and definitely get a shot. So many of the people I've coached go for a ball just because it's going above the net, but they don't take into account the defender's positioning and the fact that their teammate already committed. Number 5 is when you're first man in rotation, you don't have to jump for the ball. I'm talking about those situations when the opponent has possession of the ball, but you're first man in rotation because your teammate or teammates are behind you. So a lot of people think you have to challenge the ball as the first man, when that's not true at all. It's the first man's job to apply immediate pressure to hopefully not allow the opponents to have a quick attack. So if you know you can beat the opponent or at least get a 50-50 on the ball, by all means challenge the ball, don't let him get that attack. But I'm talking about the situation that happens multiple times a game, and it's where you're first man in rotation, but the opponent definitely has you beat to the ball. In the situations where you know you're getting beat to the ball, there's absolutely no reason to jump for it. All you're doing at that point is making your recovery a few seconds longer and leaving your teammate last man back a few seconds longer, which can lead to you guys getting scored on. If you know you're getting beat and you still want to make a play as first man, all you have to do is drive pretty much all the way up to it to make the opponent do something, don't jump, and then rotate back. Your recovery should be immediate if you keep your momentum properly, and your teammate should be there to make a play while you're getting back behind him. A lot of the people that I coach think you have to commit as first man to keep the pressure when you can just drive up to it to have a quick recovery behind your teammate. Alright, here's a situation where I'm first man in rotation, but I decide not to go for it because I'm not first to the ball. So when I was right here, I could have decided to jump for the ball, but the opponent's a pro player and I know he still has his flip, so there's such a high chance he gets this one past me, so there's no reason for me to actually jump for this ball. All I do is go under it, forcing him to do something, and in the process I'm getting a quick recovery behind my teammate. And it also allows my teammate to know I'm going to be behind him when he gets that hit, which allows him to go for a risk-free hit. Number 4 is a much more simple one, and it's overusing power sliding. There are lots of times in a game where you need to do a 90 or 180 degree turn to make a play on or off the ball. And a lot of the time, if you didn't put yourself in a weird situation, instead of power sliding, all you have to do is just kind of widen out the other way so you have space to complete the turn and make the play. Of course, there are times where you have to make a really quick turn to get in position or do a really quick cut on the ball over the opponent, and in those cases you could be power sliding, which is fine. But like I said, a lot of the times you don't even have to power slide, but when you do choose to power slide, a lot of people are doing it very inefficiently, even grand champs. So I'll just hop into free play and show you the inefficient way a lot of people are doing it. So in this example, the type of power slide I'm doing may look a little slow, it may look normal, but this is not the way you should be doing it. So I'm doing 180 degree power slide turns, but I'm holding the power slide button all the way through all 180 degrees. The key to getting a much faster and much more efficient power slide is only holding it 90 of the 180 degrees. Notice how much faster I can power slide in these examples when I'm only holding it from here to here. So instead of holding power slide through the whole 180, I'm just holding it for half the turn, and that turns me much faster. You can see both examples side by side here to see just how much better holding it through half the turn is rather than holding it through the whole turn. So that little amount of time saved can actually win you a 50-50, score you a goal, get you a save, all that kind of stuff. So it's really important. Number 3 is going too far back when your team has offensive pressure. So this problem usually occurs when you're trying to get the 100 boost from your own corner. And you know, a good amount of the time that's not even a misplay to get your own corner boost. So if it's kind of 50-50 determining who has possession, or they're bringing it back towards your zone, or even if it's in their zone but they're just getting possession, it's usually fine to go all the way back to your own corner to get your 100 boost. But the one big situation when it is a misplay to go back for your corner boost is when your team is just establishing offensive pressure. So if you're rotating back and your teammate just won a really good 50-50 in the opponent's half, or they hit it off the opponent's corner or backboard and you know the opponents are going to struggle with it, that's the point where it becomes a misplay to go all the way back for your corner boost. So here's a replay for one of my students where he gets the pass out, his teammate is there to follow up the pass with an average hit, at least he's creating offensive pressure, but the player you're watching decides to go back for the corner boost, and that is a misplay. It's a misplay because his teammate is getting this hit right here towards the opponent's backboard, making this guy work for the ball, so him going all the way back for the corner boost is leaving this guy too much space. So right around here, what he should have done, he should know that his teammate just got a solid hit, and this guy doesn't quite have possession of the ball yet. And even if he's 0 boost, it's still a misplay to go all the way back for the corner boost. So all he has to do at this point is pick up a few pads, go for mid boost, just so he has a chance to be relevant in this play, but him going all the way back here to corner boost doesn't even allow him a chance to get near this play. The amount of time it takes to go from half field where you should be to around corner boost, let's say it takes 2 seconds, that's gonna make him be 2 seconds late to this next challenge where he should be ready to go. So this could and should easily be him challenging the ball right now, but he's not there, so his teammate is forced to kind of cut him in rotation. Number 2 is when people don't check to properly see where their teammates are before cutting rotation. So the term cutting rotation does kind of have a negative connotation behind it, but there are times when it's actually the right thing to do to cut rotation. If your teammates are positioned properly, generally you shouldn't be cutting rotation, but the one big time when it is okay is when your teammate isn't there to make a play, like if he's too far back. And that could be because he improperly went back for his 100 boost, like the mistake I mentioned previously. So once you make your play as first man in rotation, generally you want to rotate to the third man spot, but if you check and see that that guy's too far away, you might have to rotate from first man to second man. And the key word here is check. You have to check to see if he's too far away before cutting him in rotation. A lot of people just blindly cut their teammates in rotation, and sometimes they're rightfully doing so, but most of the time they just create a double commit. The way to actually check to see where your teammate is usually done by double tapping ball cam. So if the play is still in their zone and you're flipping back to rotate and you're still in ball cam, you won't be able to see where your other teammate is. So to check, just go into car cam to see what's currently in front of you as you're rotating back, and from there you can see where your teammate is and logically determine if you should cut him or not. So from this clip, as I talked about, the player cuts rotation, but he doesn't check to see where his teammate is. So right here he turns and he goes for a shot without taking into account his teammate's positioning. So right now all he has to do is change his view from this to this just by turning on car cam. And at that point, if his teammate's right off screen ready to take this shot, you should continue rotating back. And if his teammate is too far back, then it will be right for him to cut. You can't know where your teammate is and make a logical decision without checking car cam in these situations. So on the topic of rotations, number 1 is far post rotations. To summarize this one, once you make your play as first man, regardless if you hit it, miss it, 50-50, once you're no longer in a good spot to make a play, you should be rotating out, and I encourage rotating on the opposite side of the ball. So if you're rotating out and the ball is currently on the left side of your screen, you want to be rotating in the direction of the right post. And same thing, when the ball's on the right side of your screen, you want to be rotating in the direction of your left post. And there are so many reasons why this is such a good thing, and the big reason is so you're not cluttering the play when you're rotating out. There are so many times where if you rotate to the near post, you're straight up bumping your teammate or just getting in the way of the play, slowing everyone down. And when you rotate to the far post, you have so much time, space, and momentum to turn back towards the play without cluttering it at all. And it makes it really obvious where you should be in rotation, and it generally makes every situation a lot less awkward and a lot more easy for you. So the concept is really simple and it's such a useful thing, but I don't see enough of my students doing it. So if you're interested, I have a whole video on far post rotations currently on the top left of your screen where I go really in depth and I have a lot of thorough examples from replays. So I encourage watching that if you want to know more about the topic, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I pretty much guarantee you could use work on at least one of these. Like if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Peace.